Let's kick off this explainer by tackling a massive paradox that I'm sure a lot of you are already feeling. Right now, companies are literally drowning in massive volumes of data, but at the exact same time, they're starving for actionable intelligence. You know, the entire nature of business is changing as a result of worldwide digitization. It's fundamentally altered how we have to operate just to survive.
So how do we actually fix this? Well, to decode exactly how organizations can evolve to become truly smart, we're going to dive into a really fascinating study by Federico Del Giorgio Solfa and his team. And look, we aren't just talking about, buying better software here. We're talking about an evolutionary leap in your actual organizational structure.
To keep things moving, we've broken this down into 6 quick parts. Drowning in data, the intelligent organization, the e-CRM nervous system, the research model, proving the synergy, and finally, the strategic mandate. Think of this explainer kind of like a biology lesson for your business. Okay, part 1, drowning in data, the modern business paradox. Look, in an era of exponential information, trying to process today's market signals with yesterday's tools means you're already falling behind.
Moving right along to part 2, the intelligent organization, establishing the anatomy. Before we get into the heavy stuff, let's rapidly define the 3 main pieces of our organizational organism.
First up is big data. Think of this as the raw cognitive power of your company. It's an enormous body of information, defined by its sheer volume, variety, and velocity. Every click, every purchase, every little interaction, it all makes up this vast, unstructured fuel.
Next up is the intelligent organization itself. Now, this isn't just a company that, uses data. It's a living, learning organism where human capital is actually wired into a distinct cognitive framework. It continuously adapts to reduce costs and keep its competitive edge sharp. And finally, piece number 3, e-CRM, or Electronic Customer Relationship Management. Sure, on paper, it's internet-based tech to automate sales and marketing, but this research brilliantly positions e-CRM as something much, much bigger. It is literally the central nervous system of your business.
Which brings us to part 3, the e-CRM nervous system, the missing link in data synergy. The absolute crucial question here is, how does raw environmental input actually become smart behavior?
And this perfectly illustrates the core concept the researchers focused on: mediation. You see, a direct effect would mean that just having big data automatically makes your organization intelligent. But the reality is a mediation effect. Raw data all by itself just isn't enough. It absolutely must pass through the e-CRM nervous system. The e-CRM processes all that unstructured data, translates it into real customer insights, and then delivers it to the organization. That right there is how raw data is converted into true intelligence.
All right, part 4. The research model, testing the biological metaphor. Because to prove this isn't just some neat theoretical idea, the researchers had to build a rigorous statistical model.
If you look at how this maps out, you see the exact flow of information. You start with big data, again defined by volume, variety, and velocity, and that flows directly into the e-CRM. Then that e-CRM, which is measured by things like navigation and service quality, ultimately feeds right into the intelligent organization. It's a crystal clear roadmap showing raw fuel transforming into strategic power.
To make sure every single connection was completely sound, they broke this down into 4 testable hypotheses. They tested the direct links between data, the e-CRM, and the organization itself. But hypothesis 4, that's the holy grail here. That one tests if big data impacts the organization, specifically through the mediating role of the e-CRM.
So, where did they get their data? Well, they surveyed, actually scratch that. They didn't just survey anyone. They specifically targeted 250 seasoned managers. And with half of them holding master's degrees and over a decade of experience, the insights we're about to look at are grounded in the actual realities of frontline business leaders, not just academic guesswork.
Okay, part 5, proving the synergy. Let's basically read the X-ray results of this study and look at the math. So, what did they find? Well, right out of the gate, the data revealed an incredibly strong relationship. Big data explains nearly half, 49.6% to be exact, of the variance in e-CRM success. This mathematically validates that data is the vital, non-negotiable fuel for your company's nervous system. Without big data, your customer relationship management is essentially just running on fumes.
And it gets even better. When big data and e-CRM team up and work together, they jointly explain over 61% of the variance in creating an intelligent organization.
I mean, that is a massive statistical footprint. It proves that these two elements are deeply intertwined in the DNA of successful modern companies. Looking at the broader picture, the total effect of big data on organizational innovation accounts for 52.4% of the variance. That is a gigantic impact on your ability to stay agile and completely outpace the competition. But here is the absolute kicker. The statistical analysis successfully proved hypothesis 4. The data confirmed that partial mediation is in fact a statistical reality. What does that mean in plain English? It means e-CRM is the essential mediator that translates digital information into real strategic insight. Yes, having data is great, but actively passing that data through your e-CRM nervous system is what truly amplifies your organizational intelligence. Finally, Part 6, the strategic mandate, breaking down the silos. We've got the theory, we've got the math, so how do we actually apply this in the real world?
Well, the study wraps up with a really powerful realization. Hoarding data gives you raw cognitive power, sure, but it is utterly, completely useless without e-CRM to turn it into customer-focused action. If your data scientists are sitting in one building and your customer service teams are in another, using totally disconnected software, your organization is effectively paralyzed.
Because of this, modern managers have a very clear, evidence-based mandate. Step 1. You have got to break down those organizational data silos. Step 2. Actively integrate your data infrastructure directly into your customer relationship platforms to create one unified workflow. And Step 3. Use this newly integrated system to foster a continuous, never-ending cycle of learning and adaptation. The data feeds the e-CRM. The e-CRM creates agility, and that agility is exactly what defines an intelligent organization.
I want to leave you with a question to really think about regarding your own company's anatomy. Is your data currently stuck in a silo, or is it actually fueling your nervous system? If you can bridge that gap, you stop just having data and you start actually being intelligent. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Now go check your company's pulse.